Here's how class of service works. Here is a line finder. The line finder has a Z relay.
Oh.
See that relay? So they ran out of space and they needed one more relay, so they crammed it down there. So they call it Z.
And every line finder has one?
Yeah. And that determines the restrictions that the calling line, that are applied to the calling line. Okay? So what happens is that's odd. Seems like maybe there's something loose in there, but maybe not. Here are line and cutoff relays. Do you know what line and cutoff relays are?
Yeah, Clint explained them yesterday.
Okay.
Every line has 2 of these relays.
Okay, so I'm surprised they're not marked. But this is the line relay with a few contacts. See, so it starts the line finder. When the line finder finds the line, the cutoff relay operates, okay? The cutoff relay prevents additional bids for another line finder, okay?
Yeah.
So, because I'm holding it, it's doing this because the bid is never satisfied. Anyway, this has a couple of contacts on it, I don't remember which ones, that can be insulated with a piece of insulated tubing by slipping the tubing over the contacts, okay? So that no current can flow when they're pressed together, okay? Or, sorry, no current can flow when the relay is released, okay? So what happens is the line finder hunts for the line, and before the cutoff relay operates, ground is passed to the line finder or not passed to the line finder, depending on whether the contact is insulated. That determines whether the Z relay operates or not for a particular caller. So for each caller, the Z relay may operate or not operate. And the Z relay determines which of 2 classes of service are applied, whether it's a restricted station or an unrestricted station.
So then that can control which levels are dialable.
Yes.
And you could also do that for all lines by just fiddling with the selectors, right? You could just busy out a level or...
Yeah, you can, but it depends on what the goal is. You know, I mean, you can disconnect the trunks too. So it just depends on what the scope of the... Now, you come around here. Here's a selector. And these things are called normal post springs. Okay? This is called the normal post because when the wipers restore, it's stopped at that position. See? This is a helical spring that restores the rotary motion. Gravity restores the vertical motion, okay? So when the switch restores, this arm hits the normal post. And so it prevents it from going further counterclockwise, okay? So these are called normal post springs. And you see this little rack with the little teeth?
Yeah.
And there are teeth bent out, right? On the level on which they're bent out, the contacts operate, right? So that determines whether a particular level is restricted and how it's restricted. There are obviously 4 possibilities. You can have one, the other, neither, or both operated. So you can have different kinds of restriction affected by wiring in the switch and the setting of these cams. Okay? So therefore, depending on whether the Z relay operated or not in the line finder, that will determine which of the restrictions are applied on the switch. That make sense?
Now, do you know what the distinction is between the top bank here and the bottom bank?
Oh yeah, sure. This is the tip and ring. mean, if you look at it,
Oh yeah, because there's 2 wires there.
right, exactly. There are 4-wire banks. In some situations, you need 4 wires. There are even 6. I mean, the line finders have 3 banks with 6 wires, because the control lead. This is the control lead, right? On the line finder, the top bank is the control leads for 2 lines. So it has 6 wires, and there are switches with 8-wire banks, 4 banks as well, for certain special purposes. Anyway, let's start. So this back here. Rolling phone. I wonder what that's doing here.
Maybe those are broken?
Well, it's a Roam phone. It's for a Roam PBX.
Are they all, or that looks like a?
This looks like a 6-button 7.
This is just a standard. Oh no, it's a 182 phone.
Right.
But this.
That's the handset for this. It's an amplifier.
Oh, and here's one like the phone I was repairing.
Yep, that's a K-type handset.
Yeah.
This is an amplified handset.
Maybe Mark knows why these are all here.
See? I'm sure he does.
Yeah, I'll try to remember to ask.
This came off, but it's not running.
I think he said there was some sort of problem with that when I was here a month ago.
That's right.
I'm not sure.
That's right. I heard him say that yesterday too. Two 40 amps.
So do you know how that test phone in the back works?
Which test phone is that?
That green test phone that's wired to all the selectors? That one right back there.
That?
Yeah.
That's not green.
Oh, I thought it was green. It's the black one.
Well, the buttons are not marked. It's not a standard arrangement, so I can't say that I know. And these seem to be just regular line appearances, so I'm not sure.
Also not sure if it's 145 or 146. Is that busy?
It's 145, yeah.
Okay. So this is right. So then you said the bells were ringing yesterday.
Yes, well, I don't...
Because
This is 146.
144 is
No, wait a minute. No, it has rotary hunting. That's what happened. I don't know what's going on with that.
Is that over there? Oh, that's the trim line.
Here's the bell that was tapping.
Oh, it's that phone that's ringing right now?
That's
I didn't even see that.
That's the phone that was ringing, and that's the phone that was tapping when we were dialing over there.
So that one is connected with the
Yes.
trim line.
Yes,
I see. Okay, wow. I missed that phone.
I did too. So, this cord is all wound up. Somebody needs to unwind it. So I don't know what's going on here.
I don't hear anything on the switch, so maybe those aren't.
I don't.
wired.
This is marked selector. Okay.
Those are all marked.
Yes, this is marked selector 10, 9, 8. There's some problem with the interlocking of the keys, that the keys don't operate properly.
Oh.
Normally, pushing any key should release any other key, but they've done something to the interlocking mechanism for some reason. See, so you can hear the switches being seized and releasing.
Yeah.
But the buttons don't stay fully down, and therefore the seizure doesn't persist.
Those are just regular extensions, I think. Those are numbers.
Yeah, they're extensions of something else.
The stand for PABX.
Right, yes.
725.
Yes.
That's a testament page. I don't know if they're wired
It
up.
seems to be blocked. That's the page. Well, that's that. I'd like to do.
I thought it was this one.
Lifted.
Yeah. I guess it didn't hang up properly. There we go. That was strange. It went to that other line finder.
What's that?
It was on line finder 8, and then this last one was on the 7th one. Maybe I didn't hang up long enough in between. Yeah, this one's on 8 now. Oh, that was a 7 selector here. 7th first selector. So when it's on number 7, it'll come in on this one too. Oh, now it's on the other one. Now, is this precise busy tone? It sounds different.
No, it's not really. What it is the dial tone interrupted at 60 IPM. They did do that on small PBXs to save money on the tone supply.
So it's still using a precise tone, but
it's using a precise tone, but normally busy tone is 440 plus 480. The dial tone is 350 plus 440. So it's a different pitch. Busy tone is normally a different pitch.
Okay. Yeah, I thought it sounded different.
Yep. Yes, it's dial tone interrupted at 60 pulses per minute.
So there's no timeout with one of these switches, right? If I pick up, I'll just get dial tone forever.
Yep. Unless the tone to pulse converters have some feature.
But that wouldn't affect this, would it? Because this is a
well,
rotary.
when you pick up until you dial, the tone to pulse converter is in the loop. It drops out or becomes passive when you dial the first digit.
Okay. So do you know why the line finder is cutting in so far? Is that really the first available?
Cutting in so far? Well,
yeah, it looks like it's on the 6th.
This is 146, so it's going to step to the 6th position because 141 is on the, 141 is going to be the first,
oh, I see.
142, 143, etc. You need to read the training bulletins on step by step from AE. They're on the TCI website. They explain all this sort of
So
stuff.
does that mean an extension with the 0 is going to take the longest to get dial tone, and
yes.
extension with the 1?
Yes.
Wow, okay.
Now, there are different arrangements for wiring the banks. I don't know why this is going to so high a level. Normally, each group of 10 lines, normally the banks are cascaded, slipped vertically, okay? So a line 111 would be on the first terminal of the first level on this switch. It would be on the second level of this switch, on the third level of this switch going across. So it would be on...
Yeah, I thought this was like this. I thought it would be the first one on every switch then, but...
Well, no, it should be the first level on the first choice switch, and that would normally be the fourth switch. So I would expect the fourth level, unless I'm remembering it wrong, maybe it goes the other way.
So that's because this isn't the first choice selector then.
It's because,
this is 146 and this is 8.
Well, I don't know why the 8th line finder is the first choice selector for...
I think somebody did say yesterday that some of those are busied out. Those line finders there.
Yes, that's true. Yes, that's true. These are all busied out. Yes.
How can you tell?
That's the reason. The busy key is out. This is the busy key. So these 4 are all busied out.
So why would someone do that?
There's something wrong with them?
Oh, okay.
Perhaps. I don't know. According to this label, this is associated with the M106 down there. So this is effectively not usable. So yeah, so this is I'm still not sure why this is the first choice. The first choice switch for any line should find the line on the first level. So I'm not sure why. It may have something to do with the way something was wired. I just don't know.
So if it's busy, it's in like that?
No, if it's available for service, it's in.
But I'm using this line finder right now, and it's in.
But this is a manual switch. It's not affected by...
Oh, I see. Okay.
There are only 4 line finders available here. 1, 2, 3, 4. These are busy. So that's probably... These are busy. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 that are available in service. That's enough. You know, depending on how many traffic there is.
Okay, yeah, because somebody asked about traffic. Clint said yesterday, since there were 10 line finders, you could have 10 calls, but if only 4 of them are working, it means you can only have 4 calls going through the switch.
That's right.
Okay. So is that a ring map trunk there for a ring map number? I heard somebody say that.
I would assume so. I think you probably heard me ask Mark. I think he said yes. For testing ringers. That would be the reason.
So I don't see it on the directory.
Well, maybe it's an unpublished number. I don't know. Gotta ask Mark about that.
Okay. So is the milliwatt line here an analog one or a digital one?
I didn't see it. I assume.
Because there's a number here and I called it and it canceled.
Well, no, I didn't see it. I mean, I know what they look like, but I didn't see it, so I assume that there's something home built somewhere.
That's strange. Yes. Holy sweet. So do you know why, even when this is off hook, the light is on?
Because when it's on hook, you mean?
Or yeah, on hook.
Because this only interrupts the loop. This controls the light.
Oh, okay, so they're different. Oh, okay, I see. Okay. If I dial 145. I was gonna dial 145, so instead it's that phone right there. Right, so.
Yeah. You want to find the ringback. Say the ringback is not on any list, huh?
That's right.
You want to find it?
Yeah.
So there are only 10 possibilities, and some of them you already know.
What do you mean 10 possibilities?
Well, there are 10 selectors. There's only one rank of selectors, right? So this selector has 10 levels. 6 is used to go out to Stanford. 1 is used for local calls. I mean, in a numbering plan in a step-by-step system, something like this has to be on a selector level.
Well, and the
So-
directory, most of the test numbers are 1 something. So
Because they're test numbers that terminate on a connector terminal. This has to terminate on a selector level because it's got to be able to pass ringing current back. It can't pass ringing current backwards through a connector switch because it has a transmission bridge inside. Okay? So this has to terminate on a selector level. This is what hackers do. They dial unpublished selector levels. So you know that 6 and 1 are used.
yeah.
What are 7, 8, 9, and 0 used for?
That's funny.
Here, take the cover off so you can see when it gets seized. Pick up your dial tone dial 2, hang up, pick up your dial tone dial 3, etc. Dial each of the levels in turn until you see it seized. It has to be a single digit number in the system. working at all, that is. We didn't...
When I dial 3, I get another dial tone.
No, I don't know what
I'm
that...
not sure what...
I don't know what that is.
I wonder if that happened when I dialed 2. I didn't listen.
Well, you should listen.
2 is dead. I think that must be vacant.
Dead? Just quiet battery?
I don't know. What do you think?
Well, something is holding it up, but I don't know what. There are connectors with 200 numbers. Because
Oh yeah, so that's just waiting for more digits.
Yes.
Okay. 3, I got a dial tone.
Yep.
Maybe I'll ask Mark what that is. And 4.
I don't know what this is. Sounds like DSL carrier.
No, I think it's music.
Oh, you're right. Well, something. It's program audio. That's what it is. It's just that.
Maybe it's the KZSU feed?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's
Okay.
KZSU, but
Well, that's interesting.
it's
Just dial
not-
4 and get music.
It's not music to my ears, and it's way distorted. Also, it's too loud. So try 5.
Yeah, that's 4. So.
That's busy.
That cut it. Busy.
Fast busy.
Yep. Fast busy. So, why would they do a vacant versus a fast busy?
What do you mean a vacant versus a fast busy?
Like, when would they leave a switch level vacant and when would they busy it out?
When they have no immediate need for it, they would busy it out.
Okay.
If it's vacant, then they busy it out.
Okay, so 6 is stand for dial tone.
Yep.
Seven is also fast busy.
Well, it's also possible that this is busied out somewhere. None of us
So
know.
8.
I don't know what happened there. It sounded like
8 is another dial tone. That's interesting. 3 and 8 are both dial tones.
But
So that just leaves 9.
it sounded like it started another line fight. You dial 8 again.
Okay, I've already got my finger on 9. I'll just hang up. Yeah,
Somehow 8 loops back into the switch.
oh, let me try
So
dialing
you're getting a
something
second
else.
dial tone from the same
Second.
switch.
Oh yeah, that's interesting. Okay, yeah. So right now I'm using 2 line finders then. So.
I'm not sure what it is.
I'll try 8 again.
Wow.
Oh, is it the same one?
What happens is it's an open level on that switch that releases and starts on the line fight. That's what's happening. Do it again and watch the switch.
So if I dial 8 again, then... Oh, it goes back to the other one. So I could just sit here dialing 8 all day. Huh. So, are you sure that just must be a single digit, or could it be multiple digits?
Can't be multiple digits on this switch. There's no way.
Huh.
I mean, unless there are special service selectors, and I didn't see any evidence of that. Maybe this thing is busied out somewhere. Maybe it's one of the levels is busy.
I'll ask Mark about that maybe now.
Yep.
Hey, Mark,
Yeah.
would you be able to tell us a couple things maybe?
Yep.
So when you dial 3, you get another dial tone. Do you know where that's coming from?
You shouldn't get another dial tone.
We figured out 8, we were getting another dial tone because it's vacant and
Apparently, there's nothing holding the first selector, so it drops and starts another line finder.
yeah, that's 8. But 3, you just get another dial tone right away.
What
You
is it?
should not be getting a dial tone from the level 3 selector. There should be... let's see, where are they? I guess there's... maybe 3... I'm trying to remember. We have a 3-level selector bank, which must be the second selector bank on the back side.
Oh, the second shelf is not
Second shelf on the back side.
is wired as a second selector.
I'm trying to remember. They used to be in another switch frame, and then when we
Oh,
downsized switch frames, we had to do something
I see.
because we have.
Where was the other switch frame? There isn't much room in there.
Well, so we got rid of it. Yeah, there's definitely a level 3 selector. If you get a dial tone, something's wrong. Because I just did it and it worked. Because like if there's a call on hold on line 1, you dial 3-1 to pick it up.
Oh, that's what that is.
So there's a bunch of stuff, bunch of 2-digit level 3 things. There's a ringback, a conference.
So the ringback is, do you know what the number for ringback is?
3.5 or 3.6. There should be that little chart on the wall with the phone numbers. Phone
Yeah, it
directory
wasn't
should
on
have it.
there. Just the 3-digit numbers are on the list.
But ordinarily, you wouldn't have dial tone on the second selector, so you shouldn't
Right.
have dial tone.
You
have
should
to
not have
through.
dial tone there.
Is it coming from the step-by-step switch?
Yeah, it's coming from another selector.
That's
The selectors are cascaded. They're first selectors
The
for any
second
call.
selector shouldn't be giving you
And
dial
the second
tone.
selector for that case is
You could put that book up on the
the
shelf
second
there
selector
somewhere.
is terminated.
so when you dial 3-1, for example, do you usually hear a dial tone between the 3 and the 1?
No.
This
And
was
I just-
this was under the book. I don't know where you
Okay,
put this.
what is that?
Circuit Works. Is that a CAD program?
It's a catalog.
Catalog.
I can go up on top next to that one. Yeah. Yep, and there's
On top?
Yeah.
Yeah, anyway. If there's dial tone on there, that just means that somebody wired at the dial tone instead of direct ground. But then that's not something that could happen due to a circuit fault. It would have to have been that way.
Well, or you didn't really get a second selector. That's what I'm wondering if it was a
Well,
problem with the switch you were using.
We watched it. I was listening. And when we dialed 8, I heard the second line finder pull up. And I thought that there was a...
Second line finder?
Yeah. Let me explain. I heard a second line finder start, and I assumed initially that the let's see, what level was it where we got the second dial tone? It was level
3 and 8.
3 and 8.
And 6 is for Stanford.
Okay. Well, the case where the line finder dropped and the second line and another line finder started.
That was 8.
That was 8. Okay. So I assumed that there was a trunk circuit looped back to an extension and we were pulling a second line
That
finder.
actually sounds more like a bad switch of
It
some
is,
sort.
it is, that's what I'm saying. The first line finder drops and the second line finder starts to satisfy the call because there's nothing holding the first selector. After
Yeah.
the first selector is dialed up to 8 and it drops and another line finder starts because the first line finder is still releasing when the
Right.
bid for service occurs.
Right.
And then you
So-
can just
so
keep dialing
That's
8,
what's
and that'll
happening,
go on
that's
all
what's
day.
happening on 8. On third, we're getting dial tone after the 3, and that's not happening, so that
So it
implies
just says the 8 level should be busied out is not busied out, so,
that's, seems
It
to be
just
the
dropped,
case.
yes.
If it has no assigned function, then yeah, it should be busied out.
yeah.
That's true. If the terminals are all strapped together, and there's no
Sleeves
ground
should
on,
all be strapped to ground.
right, and if there's no ground on there, then the switch is just gonna release, not gonna hunt across, it'll just release.
Bingo.
So it's probably a broken jumper somewhere.
Wouldn't be surprised, and maintenance on that has somewhat slipped in recent years,
Yep.
as it's sort of become less and less important part of KZSU.
Understand.
Dealing with all these modern digital thingies that don't quite work.
Oh, they work.
Spent another
They
2
just-
hours jumping through hoops for
They just
tolerance
work
there.
in strange ways that no one understands. That's called work. That's what passes for working these days.
So I have this list of explanation of broadcast marketing terms.
Oh yeah. An office humor item.
A humor item, yes. And,
The 6 phases of a project. You must have seen that one.
oh yeah, well this one has things like foolproof operation translates to no provision for adjustment.
Mm-hmm.
Customer service across the country can be shipped to us from most airports.
Yes.
But my favorite of the whole list, microprocessor controlled.
Mm-hmm.
Translation, does things we can't explain.
Right. That's it. That's the key. Blame the programmers.
Well, digital, basically, it doesn't work and it's nobody's fault.
That encompasses the whole spectrum. Yep. The hardware guys blame the software guys, and the software guys blame the hardware guys. It's like dealing with AT&T these days. I call up on a line noise problem and they tell me it's not their fault. This is after I've gone out to the protector with a call held up that has the noise on it, unplugged my inside wiring it with a butt set on there, and I continue to hear the noise. Guy comes out, tests my line, shows me on his iPad the results of the MLT test, which show that the line is perfectly good. I said, well, if the line is perfectly good, then the noise is in the central office equipment. It can't be on my premises because it occurs when I'm disconnected.
Yeah,
He says that's above my pay grade. So this is
to
This
test
is-
for line noise.
this is AT&T within AT&T, you know. He says there's nobody in the central office anymore anyway. Okay. Call my boss. He gives me his business card. The boss doesn't return my calls.
Called PUC.
I haven't gotten there yet, but I will.
Yeah, I know the repair service is horrible because you call and you got a voice robot.
What's that?
You got a voicemail robot of some kind.
On the PUC?
No, repair.
No, I spoke to live people when I recorded.
Wow, amazing.
Yeah.
Okay.
In the past,
I went through that. I went on hold, and then I got, for faster service,
I've been
go online, and the online thing didn't work.
I've been through that too, and tried to pay my bill last night, and it sat there for at least 15 minutes saying, just another minute with a little revolving circle. I mean, I pay all my bills online, and only the AT&T website has this problem. Before, it just took extraordinarily long and worked. This time, I decided to call 288-2020, and I used their voice response system to pay the bill. And when I was done with all of that, the circle was still rotating on the screen until I closed the browser tab. So, sad. Oh, the funniest thing this morning is this guy, we were playing around with, I had never tried this, and somebody started a conversation along these lines. I had never tried dialing a 7-digit call from my cell phone without the area code. So I tried that last night, and it turns out that it works.
Works from mine.
Well, I never tried it before. I just assumed I had to dial 10 digits, within the area code. So I tried it last night, and I dialed 7. A guy in Maryland tried it, and he got a recorded announcement telling him to dial 611 from a landline. Now, the irony is that it's an AT&T cell phone service, and any landline he picks up is going to be a Verizon one. That strikes me
Okay.
as pretty screwed up.
What? See, how's that song go? Isn't it ironic?
Yeah, it certainly is.
Of course, the ironic thing about that song is most of the things you mentioned are not, in fact, ironic.
Oh, well,
Many of them are just unfortunate,
yeah.
but that's not the same as ironic.
That's true.
Now, I did see an ironic story the other day. A woman who had successfully climbed Mount Everest during a time when there was disaster on Mount Everest, about a dozen climbers died.
Ooh.
Like 10 years ago. That's what inspired the book Into Thin Air, among
Oh,
others.
yeah.
Fell down her stairs at home and died.
Well, I don't know whether that qualifies as ironic either.
Well, that qualifies as ironic. You climb Mount Everest and die falling down your stairway.
I guess.
That, to me, is pretty much the
Yeah, the definition. Huh?
definition of ironic.
Yeah, I suppose.
So is it just the 4 outside lines and ringback on the 3 level then? Or are there other things that like 3.7, 3.8?
Well, excuse me, I got so stuck in there. Not every one is populated,
Okay.
and
They should return busy. Should be in the keyword.
Is that how it's really supposed to be? I thought busy is only if the line is in use. Shouldn't you get a reorder or some other?
Well, I meant
tone?
I meant trunk level
Or fast busy.
level busy, fast busy.
Okay, okay.
yeah, fast busy is what you get when the selector runs off.
So
the
which
end.
MacBook Air is this? It is a MacBook Air, isn't
Not
it?
Air, it's MacBook Pro.
Oh, okay. I had a MacBook Air that died. In addition to the battery swelling up, they tell me that the logic board has some problem.
Yeah, I saw that in the. Yeah. Oh,
So ringback
Yeah,
is
others.
35.
is that on there? Oops, somehow I
Right
missed
there.
that. Okay, well,
Under
I need to read
special
more
numbers.
carefully.
And I guess that's the only 3 level that is posted. There is a conference trunk in there on the 3 level. I think it must be 3.6, but I don't know if it. Oh, conference is 3.0, it says.
Do you have an ANAC number?
A what?
An automatic number identification? Or?
Nope, no
No.
ANI. I thought about it once years ago, but it would have been a huge effort to create one. I would have basically design and build it from scratch, and I
Yep.
somehow never got to the top of my priority list.
I can't understand why.
Are there any other cool things you recommend trying? Like I tried 102 and got milliwatt.
Yep.
Is that analog or digital?
That's a funny question. It's a milliwatt tone generator, as in motor generator.
Oh, that's right. I saw it.
It's a mechanical, it's a machine.
Yes.
So it's analog
The
then.
tone alternator. It's highly analog.
Okay.
It's not even analog. It's pre-analog.
Yes, it's pre-analog. It's electromechanical.
The joke when I was in my teens, a few years younger than you, was that my cousins in New Jersey had discovered the central office milliwatt number. And the joke was, what did Jacqueline, this was of course at the time of the Kennedy administration. Remember that the Kennedys went to India, right? And there were photos in the press of Jacqueline Kennedy on an elephant. So the joke was, what did Jacqueline Kennedy say as she slid down the elephant's trunk? Dial this number. And of course you dial the number and it's a rotary machine, it goes woo. So that was
because you can hear the machine start up.
that's right. So that was the joke. Among kids who had no idea what it was or what it was for, but had discovered it somehow.
Yeah, typically 0020.
Here. But in the East Coast they use 99 numbers. Even as far west as Michigan, they use 99 numbers.
I think in Wisconsin we use 00 numbers. I'm not
Oh,
quite
it's
sure.
funny, I remember years ago,
Connecticut uses 09 numbers. for
back in my
whatever.
data center days, one of our admins was given with early part of Stanford Centrex, had 7230020 for her phone number.
Hmm.
And when I found out it was her phone number, I thought, well, that's kind of interesting. And turned out she was getting some interesting phone calls.
Interesting in what respect?
Actually, annoying phone calls. People will call up and not expect to hear a voice. Text would call the number thinking they were going to get the test
Well,
time.
normally every
And we're surprised to find it ringing and getting answered by a person.
normally every official block on the exchange is that way for the null number. So that's. But I guess if 72 was a 723, 725.
Yeah, 723.
I guess if it was assigned as a Centrex, the normal North American numbering plan rules don't apply.
The old 497 numbers became 723 numbers. And the old 497 numbers in turn were the old university extensions. So when I went to work at the computer center,
You mean the line numbers?
I had extension 4976, which became 497 4976. Then I started getting interesting long numbers from people at the hospital, mostly patients or clients at the hospital. And then when I picked up my phone and heard a couple of some dial pulses, I realized what was going on. The hospital numbers were in the 6000 series. And they, like the campus numbers, used to be 4 digits. So when 6123 became 4976123, people had to dial the 7. Now had to dial 5 digits. So they had put instructions on some of the phones that said to reach a hospital extension, dial 7 and then the number. And they dial 7 and then they dial 4976123, and they would get me at 74976. So I caught wise to this, and I pick up the phone and hear dial pulses, and I do my intercept operator routine. Stanford, what number were you dialing? And they say, you just dialed out as 76123, sir.
Most of my calls are from people who have short-term, most of my wrong numbers, the ones that aren't telemarketing calls, are from people who have short-term memory problems. My number is 326-3260, so people with short-term memory problems dial 326, they forget that they've dialed it, and they dial 326 again, and then the rest of the number. Which, so I get all of these calls
Similar
for
problem.
326 0XXX.
Yeah.
And it's amazing how you can't simplify a number enough for people. Now I changed to that number because I thought it was simple, but you know what? A significant percentage of people, when I say the number to them, so they can write it down, I say 326, they say yeah. I say 3260. They say 3260 what? Because You know, they think I'm repeating the first three digits.
Yeah, I got the
Just-
prefix.
You got the prefix. You can't win, you know, I mean, put it in writing, it's easier.
No, so that was the amusing problem I had with my Stanford phone number when it was 497. And then said they went to the 723, 725. And then for a while there was I guess it was they had a 491 Centrex. What happened was,
Well, it certainly
you know,
changed numbers a
the
lot.
dormitories
Yeah.
used to have manual switchboards with actually usually not a phone in every room, not in the men's
Separate
dorms.
switchboards for each door?
No, there was one for like all the men's dorms on East Campus, but then there's like one phone per hallway. You didn't have a phone in your room,
That's what we had at NYU.
and
But you could contract with the phone company and have a phone put in your
right,
room.
you could have a phone put in your room, which I eventually did, because I wanted a real telephone that worked 24 hours a day, and I could make calls on it without putting dimes in it, you know, whatever. The girls' dorms had a switchboard because the switchboard attendants doubled as door monitors, so they had phones in their rooms.
As a standard offering from the university, huh? Interesting.
Well,
I'm
the
surprised.
point came where Stanford said, gosh, we don't want to pay a bunch of phone operators anymore. This is pretty barbaric. So let's scrap these switchboards and have people order real phones if they want a phone. It was still before cell phones. Well, you know, the population of Stanford dorms was, you know, like 4,000 or 5,000 students. Having the phone company suddenly need to come up with 4,000 phone lines
Yes.
was a problem.
Yes.
They didn't have 4,000 lines to spare, nor did they have cable plant into Palo Alto.
What year was this?
I'm having trouble pinning that year down. But I thought it was early 70s. I kind of thought one of our phone guys had an argument with him about the number he ended up with because he didn't want to get slow dial tone. One of the guys who was here yesterday had this issue. So we should ask the list about the 491 office. But so what happened was, as an expedient, they threw together basically a step-by-step Centrex, like the old Stanford Centrex. We put up in a Butler building over at somewhere near Panama and Lomita.
Pac Bell did this.
Back Bell did it.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, because it was, you know, it was a crisis. They had all of a sudden they needed to 3,000 new phone lines. So it was, it was obsolete the day it was built. You know, it was step-by-step gear.
I was surprised that this thing was a 701D equipment because, you know, at the time that it was put in, based on what Sam told me, you know, that would have been, you know, reusable material, not something that they would scrap. So I kind of assumed that it was going to be 701A equipment, but it's not.
Yeah, because it was 1969.
Yeah, absolutely. Lots of 701 in service much later than that, into the 90s.
Yeah. Well, so this one was certainly much later than when we got back here. I think I got a picture somewhere of one of our guys, is probably Seth, looking at a switch in that 491 office. But
So I wonder how they build it to Stanford.
well, they didn't build it at Stanford. I mean, that was service for individual students.
Right.
I'm not sure how the
But-
billing was handled.
Whether they treated it as a Centrex or they treated it as a satellite office, a CO.
They treated it as a CO, I believe. You know, it was.
Yeah, otherwise you'd have to dial 9 to get out. But the problem
Well, I
is,
think you did have to dial 9 to
Well,
get
then
out,
it was
because if electrically it was a Centrex.
well, no, I mean, you know, if it was a satellite off the Hamilton CO, then you wouldn't dial 9.
Step by step. Right.
Doesn't matter.
Sure it matters,
Yeah.
because you gotta dial it, you dial it first.
Half of Palo Alto was step by step. When I moved here, they were still in 1984.
Oh, I know,
It was
325,
there's-
322,
right.
3, 4, and
It was
5, was
crossbar
step by
5 and
step.
crossbar 5 and step by step.
I had one of those numbers
Yep.
back when dinosaurs were in view.
Yep.
But, because I was in Menlo Park, and I had
Yep.
I had one of those numbers, but the way, if you want it to be dialed as a 7-digit number, you need like another first level of selectors,
Yes.
right? Because essentially it was a 4-digit Centrex, and so it was 491 mumble. So if you're 491 2001, for example, you could dial anybody in that exchange, and it was like 4 or 5 digits. I forget which, probably
Well,
4.
digit absorbing selectors handle some of that.
Some of that, but I don't remember quite what the numbering scheme was. I'm pretty sure the prefix was 491.
A guy named Don Brunner, who you probably never heard of, he was active in Menlo Park politics at the time of the St. Patrick's Seminary referendum. Were you aware of that at the time?
Oh my God! Yeah.
Well, I was
NIMBYs get what they deserve.
I was involved in that, actually.
You were? On which side?
Against it,
Against the against killing the project?
in favor of killing the project.
Oh.
Against rezoning it to put a 99.
You're one of those.
Yeah.
Shame on you.
Against putting a 99-bed emergency care facility in the middle of a residential neighborhood.
Emergency care facility?
Yes, that was part of the plan. They rezoned that whole parcel to be able to do what they wanted to do, and it included a 99-bed
It
extended.
had a bunch of senior housing,
You know,
which would have very low impact on the neighborhood. So
Yes.
what they ended up with was
well, they would
single-family
except-
McMansions,
except they
3
would have
cars
had
apiece.
they would have had ambulances going in and out. It was a rezoning, no question about that.
Yeah.
Call is still connected. Yeah, if I press the button, I hear it. I can talk into the mouthpiece. You should hear me out of the other phone. I should press star, that'll turn off the phone. Well, I don't think it's going to pulse it. Calling party has to hang up first before the connection drops. I wonder how long the switch would hold before it drops. If it drops at all. We can pick up now, and I'm still on the line. have to ping up the call unit and the call app. And then I get dial tone right away from this phone. I can try switch up dialing. I'm not sure what I did now. Oh, that was too long. Flash. End the call. So I can still talk back when I called it in. I can just hold this guy up here. Call is connected. Everything up here. Can't switch up dial from this phone. No, I can from here. Of course, I'm not sure what number I dialed now. Okay, I got dial tone. One, two, three, four. That was 5, I think. Well, that was also 5. Oh, I'll cheat a little bit here. Maybe I'll call the milliwatt number. That's strange. Well, now what did I do? not hanging up. The line is still in use. I called all that. Oh, the milliwatt. Well, should be. Well, now this line is out of service, maybe. I don't know. I can use that line. Well, maybe I'll try again. Well, I don't want to. I dialed the milliwatt normal. Ah, it's busy. No, I've done something. Not sure what other line could be. It's very bizarre. This one too. Well, this number is working at least. Oh, that was too long. Extension with shorter digits. It's easy to switch a dial. Well, now I got something ringing. I'm holding the selector up, I guess. Well, that didn't work. Ah, we did it. Using the switch up. Wonder if I can do it again. No, I think I overshot a digit. Nope, didn't do that. was. I guess I have to wait a little bit longer. Yeah, it's still going on. I don't know. I dialed the milliwatt line from 145, and then I heard the tone, and then it went away. So I tried hanging up, but it didn't disconnect. I went over there, and the line finder was still, everything was still used. It didn't drop. So I called the milliwatt line from 144, and it was busy. So I kept switching back and tried hanging up, but it wouldn't disconnect over here. So I'm not. That didn't happen to me before.
That sounds like an equipment fault that you should let know about. That's not normal.
Okay.
It should be under calling party control.
Yeah. Well, I did figure out that the call then can't hang up. They can just pick back up again and keep talking.
That's the way it is on a normal step-by-step switch, at least the simple one.
Yeah, it's kind of nice.
There are some step-by-step switches that have thermal timeouts in the first selector, so that if the call party hangs up or in the connector rather, call party hangs up for a long enough period of time, the connection will drop. But that's a very small minority of step equipment that does that. So, and PBXs don't. And some COs did that.
So I could just hold someone up forever then,
Yes.
pretty much.
Yes.
Okay.
I had an experience with people doing that to me at NYU when I was at the radio station, and I found a way to solve the problem and release the connection. You know how?
How?
I fed them dial tone for another line, and when they heard the dial tone, they thought the connection was released, and they hung up.
That's fine.
So I guess that's an early example of social engineering, right?
Yeah.
What else would it be? Anyway, so yes, in principle, you can hold the connection indefinitely.
Okay. But that's not what happened with the milliwatt line then, I'm guessing. That was something else.
No. But what did it eventually release?
No, because that was 10 minutes ago. It's still
up.
I think it is. Because if you pick up 145, you don't hear a dial tone. And I'm sure if you call from another line, yeah, it's still busy.
Okay, well, then you can release it. You can release it.
How do I do that? Oh, you can just manually drop the connection?
Yes.
I think this is the line finder up here that's
Well,
you just do it
but
from there.
it's under control of the connector. I don't know why. Now, dial it again and see whether it hangs again.
Yeah, I have dial tone at 145 now, so it dropped.
Well, dial 102 and hang up and see whether it releases.
No, I heard the machine fire up, yeah. But if I hang up, well, we're testing. Did you say you know where the milliwatt machine is?
Yeah. It's up there on top. The thing that says sending panel.
That? Is
Well,
it this right here?
The machine is on the back. It says sending panel on it, doesn't it?
It's on the other side?
The machine is on the other side.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I saw it over there.
It's an AC motor. the tone alternator. Holtz or Cabot made a lot of rotary equipment for the bell system.
I heard it fire up when I called it. It's a cool noise.
Yep. So what number is it on?
102.
But it's not dialable from outside, is it?
I would imagine not.
I'd like to get a recording of it. I found one instance of the same machine on CNET, but it's not. It doesn't sound good for some reason.
Well, actually, I think that was on my list to do. Record some of the tones here. If I just use my pickup coil, I could probably just get a lot of the sounds here, right?
I suppose, yeah.
So, I know Mark said he had a telephone interface. Would that be any better than my pickup coil?
Might be. Depends, you know. Mark is not in his office. I don't know where he went. Maybe he's back in the toilet.
Okay.
But I'm going to check out. So I couldn't report the problem to him.
Okay, I'll let him know though.
I would suggest you tell him that it's the fourth connector over here.
Oh, is the problem with the connector, not the milliwatt?
It's probably the connector. The connector has control. You know, maybe the B relay is sticky. The fifth connector, rather. Probably the connector.
Well, I was making calls on that for a while, and I didn't have that problem until the milliwatt.
Well, problems don't necessarily repeat exactly the same way each time. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Depends on the nature of the fault. I didn't really observe which relays were operated before I released it, so if I had looked to see which specific relays were operated, I could have maybe had a better handle on it, but I didn't look to do that. But just tell them that this connector was involved when it happened.
Okay.
And that should be checked. Oh, there he is. Mark? Mark?
Yeah.
Naveen called the milliwatt and hung up and it didn't release.
Ooh.
And made several other calls to it. Of course, it was busy because it wasn't releasing.
Mm-hmm.
And I finally went over there and pushed the release magnet on the connector, and of course that dropped it. But I didn't observe which relays were operated. The problem doesn't repeat. So whether there was a sticky B relay on the connector, or whether the milliwatt is somehow or other, are those connectors set up for called party hold, or are they strictly calling party?
You're calling party hold.
Well, then only the connector could be at fault then.
Yes.
The milliwatt couldn't cause the problem.
Right.
So it's the fifth connector that was
Okay.
involved in that particular situation.
Yeah, so I'm kind of way behind on maintaining those switches.
Yeah, I understand. I just figured you should know. Maybe you
Okay,
want to write it down and deal with it some later time.
But if that happens again, I just release the lever?
Yeah, press the release magnet. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. It can only be the connector at this point. That's clear. Some switches are called last party hold, and some are calling party hold. But PABX switches are usually calling party hold. So.
tone here either. Huh. Huh, so that milliwatt was going the whole time. Now I should be able to get it dialed. Yeah. Loop back to extension 100. Oh, so level 4 is an air monitor, correctly.